You know that feeling when you buy your first house? That mix of excitement and terror because you just signed your life away for the next 30 years? Yeah, that's where I was 3 months ago. 28 years old, finally scraped together enough for a down payment, and I found this place for an absolute steal. And I mean a steal. The house was listed at less than half what comparable homes in the area were going for. My realtor, this woman named Patricia, who'd been in the business for like 20 years, kept trying to talk me out of it. She'd say things like, "Are you sure you want to take on a project this big? And maybe we should look at some other options." But I was stubborn. I saw the price tag and the square footage, and I stopped listening to reason. The house had been sitting empty since 1968. That's what Patricia told me. 57 years of just sitting there, slowly decaying, slowly being forgotten by the neighborhood around it. The previous owner had died without any heirs, and the property went through this complicated legal process before finally ending up on the market. Nobody wanted it. Too much work, Patricia said. Too many issues. But I'm handy. Or at least, I thought I was. I'd helped my dad renovate our garage when I was in high school. I'd watched probably 100 hours of home improvement videos on YouTube. How hard could it be? My name's David, by the way. David Chen. And this is the story of how I learned that some houses are cheap for a reason. The house itself is actually pretty nice from the outside. It's one of those classic two-story colonials with white siding and black shutters. The kind of house you see in old movies about the American dream. Sure, the siding was dingy and some of the shutters were hanging crooked, but nothing that couldn't be fixed with some elbow grease in a weekend or two. The inside was, well, it needed work. A lot of work. But it had good bones, as they say. Hardwood floors under the old carpeting. Original crown molding. A fireplace in the living room that just needed to be cleaned out. The kitchen was stuck in the 60s, but that was part of the charm, right? I moved in on a Saturday in late September. Didn't have much furniture, just the essentials. A mattress on the floor in what would eventually be my bedroom. A card table and folding chair for the kitchen. Some boxes of clothes and kitchen supplies. My buddy Marcus helped me move everything in his pickup truck. The whole process took maybe 3 hours. "Man, this place is creepy," Marcus said as we carried in the last box. He's a big guy, played linebacker in college, not the type to get spooked easily. But I could see the way his eyes kept darting around, like he was checking corners for something lurking. "It's just old," I told him. "Give me a few months, and it'll look great." Marcus looked skeptical but didn't push it. We ordered pizza, drank some beers, and he left around 8. Said he had to get home to his girlfriend Kelly. I think he was just uncomfortable being in the house after dark. The place did have a weird vibe, I'll admit. Something about the way sounds echoed, the way shadows seemed darker than they should be, but I was determined to make it work. This was my house, my investment, my future. The first week was fine. I focused on the upstairs, tore out the old carpet in the bedrooms, sanded down the hardwood underneath. It was exhausting work, but satisfying. Every night I'd collapse on my mattress, covered in dust and sweat, feeling accomplished. I'd put on some music or a podcast, cook something simple for dinner, and feel like a real adult. A homeowner, someone who was building something. I didn't go into the basement that first week. Didn't even think about it, honestly. I had enough to deal with upstairs. Plus, basements are always kind of creepy, right? Dark and damp and full of spiders. I figured I'd deal with it eventually, but there was no rush. It wasn't until day 8 that I noticed the door was missing. I was carrying some old carpet padding down to throw away, planning to finally check out the basement storage situation, and I turned a corner in the hallway where the basement entrance was, and I just stopped. Because there was no door, just an open doorway with stairs leading down into darkness. At first, I thought maybe I'd just forgotten. Maybe there never was a door and my brain had just filled in the blank because doors are supposed to be there. But no, I could see the hinges still mounted on the door frame. 3 hinges, old and rusty, with the screws still in place. The door had been there at some point. It was gone now. I stood there for a minute trying to figure out how I hadn't noticed this before. I'd walked past this doorway probably a dozen times. How do you not notice a missing door? "Weird," I said out loud, just to break the silence. My voice echoed in a way that made me uncomfortable. I looked at the hinges again. Tried to remember if they'd been there when I first toured the house with Patricia. Couldn't remember. The whole tour had been kind of a blur, honestly. I'd been too focused on square footage and price per square foot to notice details like doors. I pulled out my phone and texted Marcus. "Hey man, do you remember if there was a door on the basement when we moved my stuff in?" He responded pretty quickly. What basement door? The door to the basement? Was it there? Id command. Wasn't paying attention. Why? It's missing. Lol, someone stole your door? That's a new one. I didn't respond. It wasn't funny to me. Something about the missing door felt wrong in a way I couldn't articulate. It's just a door, I told myself. You can get a new one at Home Depot for like $100. Not a big deal. You'd think a basement door would be important for keeping cold drafts out of the upstairs levels, but hey, if a missing door is your biggest issue with a house this old, you're still a lucky man. But it bothered me. I'm not sure why. Something about it just felt wrong. Like finding out your car is missing a wheel when you could have sworn it had 4 yesterday? I decided to check out the basement. Might as well see what I was dealing with down there. Maybe I'd find the door leaning against a wall or something. Some logical explanation for where it went. There was a light switch at the top of the stairs. Old and yellowed with age, the kind with the push-button toggle. I flicked it on and a bulb pinged to life somewhere below me. The light was sickly and yellow, the kind you get from old incandescent bulbs that are about to die. It flickered unsteadily, making the shadows dance in nauseating patterns. The concrete steps leading down looked rough. Really rough. They were pocked with these smooth, shallow divots, like someone had been hitting them with a ball-peen hammer for years. But the divots were too uniform for that, too regular. They were spaced out in this weird pattern that almost looked like footprints? But that didn't make sense. Concrete doesn't just crater like that from normal foot traffic. As I stepped down them, I had to wonder just how those funny little craters got there. The house was sold in 1968 and has sat dormant since then. 57 years is a long time, but concrete doesn't just develop holes on its own. Not like this. Not in these perfect little divots that were smooth on the inside, like they'd been worn down by something. I started down the stairs slowly, one hand on the railing. The railing was cold and slightly damp, and I had to resist the urge to pull my hand away. The temperature dropped noticeably as I descended. By the time I was halfway down, I could see my breath puffing out in little clouds. Definitely need insulation down here, I muttered to myself. And a door. That's why you need a door. Keep the cold air from coming up. The stairs turned at a landing, making an L shape. I couldn't see what was beyond the corner until I took those last few steps. Part of me didn't want to. There was something about the quality of the air down here, something that made the hair on my arms stand up. But I'm not a kid anymore. I'm a homeowner. I don't get scared of basements. I rounded the corner and discovered why the house had been empty for so long. The web was the first thing I saw. It's like a funnel web, but by far the biggest I've ever seen. I mean, I've seen spider webs before. Everyone has. Those delicate little things in the corners of rooms, or the elaborate orb webs you find in gardens. This wasn't like those. This was something else entirely. Strands as thick as my little finger stretched taut across the far corner of the basement, spiraling inward like a massive drain. They weren't white or gray like normal spider silk. They were this weird translucent color, almost like glass, and they seemed to absorb the sickly yellow light rather than reflect it. The web spiraled into a hole in the basement wall, and that hole. The hole seemed impossible. The edges weren't broken or chipped like you'd expect if someone had smashed through the concrete. Instead, they were smooth, almost melted looking, like the concrete had just ceased to exist at that point. The hole transitioned from concrete to exposed earth, and then the tunnel continued into darkness. The uncertain jaundiced light from the single basement bulb barely penetrated a few feet into it, but I could see enough to tell that the tunnel curved gently down and to the left until it disappeared completely. I stood there, frozen, trying to process what I was seeing. My brain kept trying to come up with rational explanations. Maybe the previous owner had started digging for a wine cellar or something. Maybe there was some kind of geological formation under the house. Maybe, but that's not the worst part. The worst part is nothing. It was hanging in the web, upside down, and my brain struggled to make sense of what I was seeing, or not seeing. It was like looking at a hole in reality, a space where something should be but wasn't. The shape was vaguely spider-like, 8 appendages, a bulbous body but enormous. The size of a bear, maybe bigger, but there were no features, no eyes, no mouth, no texture, just absence. A spider-shaped void. It just isn't there in a space where something should be, anything at all, but it is the void, and it's staring at me. Even though it has no eyes, I can feel it looking at me, perceiving me. And that feeling is worse than any horror movie I've ever seen, worse than any nightmare I've ever had. I can't move. Can't breathe. Can't think. I'm just standing there on the basement stairs, staring at this impossible thing that simultaneously is and isn't there. Then it moves. It begins to slothfully clamber down from its web. The motion is wrong. That's the only way I can describe it. It moves like a spider, but also like it's moving through something thicker than air. Like, it's underwater, but there's no water. Each movement is deliberate and slow and utterly wrong. I watch as its knot feet lackadaisically mosey toward me. And that's when I understand the pits in the concrete, because as one of its knot limbs touches the basement floor, the concrete withers in on itself. Just collapses into a smooth divot exactly like the ones on the stairs. It's not breaking the concrete. It's not even touching it, not really. It's making it not exist, making it never have existed. The realization hits me like a physical blow. Each individual pit was always there. This thing isn't destroying anything. The holes in the stairs, the missing door, they've always been that way. Because this thing doesn't just consume, it erases. It makes things not be. I watch for a moment, fear deciding between fight and flight. My body is locked up, every muscle tensed. The thing takes another slow step toward me, and another divot appears in the concrete floor. Then another step. It's coming for me with the patience of something that knows I can't escape. The spell breaks. I take a faltering step back, my foot nearly slipping on the stairs behind me. Then I'm running. Running like my life depends on it, because it does. I sprint up the stairs, taking them two at a time, my hand barely touching the railing. Behind me, I can hear something. Not footsteps exactly, more like the sound of absence, if that makes any sense. The sound of things ceasing to be. It's following me. I hit the top of the stairs and burst into the hallway, my heart hammering so hard I think it might explode. I need to get out. Need to get to my car. Need to get away from this house and never come back. But even as I'm thinking this, even as I'm running for the front door, something starts to change. The fear is still there, thrumming through my veins, but it's getting distant, like it's happening to someone else. My sprint slows to a jog, then to a walk. By the time I reach the front door, I'm moving casually, like I'm just going out to check the mail. I pause with my hand on the doorknob. What was I doing again? Why was I running? Being afraid of basements is silly. I remind myself of that with a chuckle. I'm 28 years old, a homeowner, an adult. Being scared of the dark is kid stuff. I was probably just startled by a spider or something. Big deal. Every old house has spiders. I turn around, facing back toward the basement stairs. The doorway is just there, open and innocent. Just a basement. Nothing to worry about. But my stomach is fluttering. There's this urge, deep and primal, to run like hell. To grab my keys and get in my car and drive until this house is just a memory. But that's ridiculous. There's nothing down there. Nothing at all. I walk back toward the basement stairs. My legs feel heavy, like I'm moving through water. Each step takes effort, like some part of me is trying to stop. But I keep going, because there's nothing to be afraid of. Obviously. I reach the top of the stairs and look down. The sickly yellow light is still flickering. I can see the concrete steps with their funny little divots. Just wear and tear from age. Nothing mysterious about it. I start down the stairs, slowly, unhurriedly, fighting that flutter in my stomach and the urge to run. But I keep going because I'm being silly. There's nothing down here, nothing at all. I reach the landing, start to turn the corner. I can see the edge of that web in my peripheral vision, those thick strands catching the light. Just keep reminding yourself of the truth, I think. Absolutely nothing is creeping up behind you. I descend the last few stairs, turn fully to face the corner where I saw. What? I can't quite remember. The web is there, sure. Impressive for a spider web. Must be a big spider. But that's all it is. Just a web. The hole in the wall is there too. Huh. I'll need to patch that. Probably where all the cold air is coming from. Simple fix. Some concrete patch and a trowel. I'll add it to my list of projects. I walk closer to the web, studying it with curiosity rather than fear. It really is remarkable. The craftsmanship, if you can call it that. The way each strand connects to the others in perfect spirals. Nature is amazing. I reach out to touch one of the strands. It's cool under my fingertips, and surprisingly solid for something that looks so delicate. I follow it with my eyes, tracing it back to the center of the web where there's nothing. Just empty space. Of course there's nothing. What else would be there? I turn to leave, to head back upstairs and continue with my renovations. As I climb the stairs, I notice those divots again. I really should figure out what caused those. Maybe settling? Old age? Doesn't matter. Every old house has its quirks. I emerge into the hallway and notice the missing door again. That's right. I came down here to look for it. Must have been stolen before I bought the place. Or maybe it rotted and someone threw it out. Either way, I'll pick up a new one this weekend. Home Depot. $100. Easy. I pull out my phone to add basement door to my shopping list. There's a text from Marcus from earlier. Something about a door. I don't remember what that was about. I close the messages and open my notes app. Basement door, I type. Concrete patch for wall. Check for spider infestation. I look at that last item and almost delete it. Seems silly. It's just one web, and there's nothing down there anyway. Nothing to worry about. But I leave it on the list, just in case. The rest of the day passes normally. I sand some more floorboards, make dinner, watch some TV. Around 9 p.m., I'm getting ready for bed when I realize I'm exhausted, more tired than I should be. Like I've been through something physically draining. I catch my reflection in the bathroom mirror as I brush my teeth. I look pale. There are dark circles under my eyes. When did those show up? I spit out the toothpaste and rinse my mouth. As I'm drying my face, I notice something strange. There's a small spot on my arm, just above my elbow. It's perfectly circular and smooth, maybe the size of a dime. The skin there looks thin, translucent. I can see the veins underneath more clearly than I should be able to. I touch it gently. It doesn't hurt. Doesn't feel like anything, actually. I can touch it, but it's like the sensation is muffled somehow. Distant. Probably just dry skin or something. I make a mental note to buy some lotion. I go to bed, but sleep doesn't come easily. I lie there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, listening to the house settle around me. Old houses make a lot of noise. Creaking wood, pipes expanding and contracting, the wind against the siding. Normal sounds, nothing to worry about. But underneath all that, there's another sound. Or maybe it's not a sound at all. Maybe it's the absence of sound, like a void in the normal ambient noise. And it seems to be coming from downstairs, from the basement. I close my eyes and focus on my breathing. In and out, in and out. There's nothing down there, nothing at all. I remind myself of this over and over until finally, mercifully, I fall asleep. I dream about the basement. In the dream, I'm standing at the bottom of the stairs, but this time I can see clearly. The web stretches across the entire corner, and in the center of it, that void is there. That spider-shaped nothing. But in the dream, I can see what it's doing. It's eating. But not like a normal spider eats. There's no prey wrapped in silk. Instead, it's consuming. Memories, moments, pieces of reality itself. I see flashes of images. A woman in a 1,960 seconds dress, standing at the top of the basement stairs. A man in a fedora walking down them. Children playing in the finished basement, back when it was finished, back when it had wood paneling and a television set. And the spider thing is eating all of it. Taking those moments, those people, those memories, and making them not exist. Making them never have existed. The woman reaches the bottom of the stairs and turns. She sees the web. Sees the thing. Opens her mouth to scream, but no sound comes out because she's already being erased. Her scream never happened. She never happened. I wake up gasping, tangled in my sheets. My heart is racing and I'm covered in cold sweat. It's still dark outside. I check my phone, 3:17 a.m. I sit up and try to calm down. It was just a dream, a nightmare. This house is creepy and old, and my subconscious is playing tricks on me. That's all. I get up to get some water, walk down the hallway toward the kitchen. As I pass the basement doorway, I pause. The door is still missing, of course. I can see the top of the stairs descending into darkness. The light down there is off. I definitely turned it off before bed. I reach for the switch. My hand is shaking slightly. I flip it on and that sickly yellow bulb pings to life below. Everything looks normal, just stairs leading down. Nothing to worry about. But I can't shake the feeling that something is watching me. That if I go down there right now, I'll see something I don't want to see. Or maybe I won't see it. Maybe that's worse. I turn off the light and go to the kitchen. Pour a glass of water. Drink it slowly, trying to settle my nerves. As I'm standing there in the kitchen, looking out the window at the dark neighborhood, I notice something. Mrs. Henderson's house across the street. Mrs. Henderson has lived there for 40 years, according to Patricia. She's like a neighborhood institution, knows everyone, knows everything. But looking at her house now, I'm having trouble remembering exactly what it looks like. The details are fuzzy. Was it blue? White? Did it have shutters? I feel like I should know this. I've looked at that house every day for over a week. I close my eyes and try to picture it. But the image won't come. It's like trying to remember a dream that's already fading. I know there's a house there. I know Mrs. Henderson lives in it, but I can't actually see it in my mind. That's when I notice my arm again, that circular spot. It's bigger now, the size of a quarter. And there's another one forming near my wrist, and another on my hand. I stare at them, trying to understand what I'm seeing. They look like divots, like the ones in the basement stairs, smooth and shallow and perfectly circular, places where my skin is just less, where I'm becoming translucent, becoming nothing. The water glass slips from my hand and shatters on the kitchen floor. The sound echoes through the empty house. I need to leave, right now. This instant. I need to get out of this house and never come back. I run to my bedroom and start grabbing clothes, stuffing them into a duffel bag. My hands are shaking so badly I can barely hold anything. The spots on my skin are spreading. I can see them appearing on my legs now. My chest, smooth, circular voids where I'm simply ceasing to be. I grab my car keys and my wallet, head for the front door. My heart is hammering so hard I think I might pass out. But as I reach for the doorknob, something stops me. Why am I leaving? This is my house. I just bought it. I can't just abandon it. That doesn't make any sense. Being afraid of basements is silly. I remind myself of that with a chuckle. I'm being ridiculous. So there's a spider web in the basement? Big deal. And these spots on my skin, they're probably just a rash or something. Dry skin. An allergic reaction to the dust from sanding floors. I set down my duffel bag, take a deep breath, let it out slowly. Everything is fine. There's nothing to worry about. Nothing at all. I walk back to my bedroom, moving calmly and unhurriedly. I can feel that flutter in my stomach, that primal urge screaming at me to run. But I ignore it, because there's nothing wrong. I'm just tired. It's been a long day and I had a bad dream and I'm not thinking clearly. I lie, back down on my mattress, pull the covers over me, close my eyes. Absolutely nothing is creeping up the stairs toward my bedroom right now. There's nothing following the scent of my fear, making divots in each stair as it climbs, nothing reaching the top of the stairs and turning down the hallway, nothing standing in my doorway, watching me with its non-eyes. Because there's nothing in the basement. There never was. That's the truth I hold on to as I drift back towards sleep. There's nothing in the basement. Nothing at all. I wake up and it's morning. Sunlight is streaming through my bedroom window. Birds are singing outside. Everything seems normal. Peaceful even. I sit up and stretch. My body feels strange, light, like I'm not entirely there. When I look down at my arms, the spots are gone. My skin looks perfectly normal. See? I was just tired. Just stressed from the move and the renovations. The mind plays tricks when you're exhausted. I get dressed and head downstairs to make breakfast. As I pass the basement doorway, I don't even look. Don't need to. There's nothing down there worth looking at. In the kitchen, I make coffee and toast. Simple breakfast. I sit at my card table and eat, scrolling through my phone. Marcus texted again last night. "You good, man? You were acting weird about that door." I text back. "All good, just tired. Long day." He sends back a thumbs up emoji. I finish my breakfast and look at my to-do list for the day. Lots of projects, lots to accomplish. I'm excited to keep working on the house. It's really coming together. My phone rings. It's Patricia, my realtor. "David, how's the house?" she asks cheerfully. "It's great," I tell her. And I mean it. Really happy with the purchase. Wonderful. I'm so glad. I was a bit worried at first, you know. The house has quite a history. History? Oh, didn't I mention that? The previous owners? The Carlsons? They just disappeared one day in 1968. The wife first, then the husband went looking. For her. Both just gone. No trace. The house sat empty until the bank finally took possession. I frown. She definitely didn't mention that during the sale. But it doesn't bother me. People disappear sometimes. That was 57 years ago. Ancient history. That's interesting. I say politely. There were others too, over the years. People who came to look at the house during estate sales. A few of them never showed up to appointments afterward, just dropped off the face of the earth. Their families said they'd been on their way to view the property and then just vanished. Cell phones going to voicemail? Cars found abandoned blocks away? Patricia laughs nervously. I probably shouldn't tell you all this. Don't want to spook you. But you seem like you're doing fine, so no harm, right? Right, I say. My voice sounds distant to my own ears. No harm at all. We chat for a few more minutes and then hang up. I sit there at my card table, coffee getting cold in my cup. People disappeared. Multiple people. All connected to this house. But that doesn't mean anything. Coincidence. Urban legend. People like to make up spooky stories about empty houses. I stand up and take my dishes to the sink. As I'm washing them, I catch my reflection in the window. For just a second, just a fraction of a second, I see those spots again. Those smooth, circular voids in my skin. But when I blink, they're gone. Just the light playing tricks. I dry my hands and head toward the living room to continue working. As I pass the basement doorway, I pause. Can't help myself. I look down the stairs. The light is on. I don't remember turning it on. But there it is, that sickly yellow glow. And at the bottom of the stairs, just barely visible around the corner, is one of those divots. Fresh, smooth, like something walked up the stairs recently. Something that makes concrete wither in on itself. Something that makes things cease to be. But that's impossible. There's nothing down there. There never was. I reach for the light switch to turn it off. My hand is shaking again. As my finger touches the switch, I hear something from below. Not a sound, exactly. More like the absence of sound, a void in the ambient noise. It's climbing. Every rational part of my brain is screaming at me to run, to get out of this house immediately, to drive far away and never look back. But I can't, because the moment I think about leaving, that thought starts to fade, starts to become fuzzy and indistinct, like it's being erased from my mind even as I'm thinking it. I flip off the light switch. The basement goes dark. There's nothing down there, I say out loud. My voice is steady, confident. Nothing at all. I turn away from the doorway and walk calmly toward the living room, fighting every instinct that's telling me I'm in danger, fighting that primal flutter in my stomach. Because if I acknowledge that there's something in the basement, then it becomes real. And if it becomes real, then what it does to me becomes real too. So I don't acknowledge it. I pretend, I push down the fear and the knowledge, and I just forget. I spend the rest of the day sanding floorboards. It's meditative work, repetitive. The sound of the sander drowns out everything else, including that absence of sound from the basement, including the soft, patient footsteps on the stairs that don't make any noise, but somehow I can still hear them. By evening, I'm exhausted, covered in dust. I take a shower and make dinner. Chicken and rice. Simple. I eat it while watching videos on my phone. Everything is normal. Everything is fine. As I'm getting ready for bed, I notice something. The bathroom mirror is slightly foggy, like steam has clouded it, but I took my shower an hour ago. The fog should have cleared by now. I reach up to wipe it away, and that's when I see it. In the fog, someone has drawn something. Or something has drawn something. It's crude, made with a finger or something. Finger-like. It's a circle. And inside the circle, 8 legs. A spider. And underneath it, words. Always here. Always was. I stare at it for a long moment. Then I take my hand and wipe it all away. The condensation smears and disappears, taking the drawing with it. There's nothing in the basement, I say to my reflection. My reflection looks thin, translucent in places. But that's just the lighting, just the foggy mirror. Nothing at all. I go to bed, don't check the basement doorway as I pass it. Don't look down the dark hallway toward the stairs. Don't think about the sound of nothing climbing up toward me. I close my bedroom door. Lock it. Then I laugh at myself for locking it. What am I locking out? Nothing. There's nothing to lock out. I lie down and close my eyes. And just like the night before, I keep reminding myself. Absolutely nothing is standing outside my bedroom door right now. Nothing is testing the doorknob with its not hands. Nothing is slowly, patiently working in its way inside. Because there's nothing in the basement, there's nothing in the house, there's nothing at all. And if I keep believing that, if I keep forgetting what I saw, then maybe, just maybe, I'll be okay. Maybe I won't disappear like the Carlsons. Like all those other people who came to view this house. Maybe I'll wake up tomorrow morning and everything will be fine. There's nothing in the basement, nothing in the house, nothing creeping closer, nothing at all. I keep repeating this to myself, even as I hear my bedroom door slowly creak open. Even as I feel the temperature drop and the air become thick with absence. Even as something patient and hungry and older than memory settles at the foot of my bed. There's nothing there. Nothing at all. And if I believe it hard enough, maybe I'll still exist in the morning. Maybe